Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the episode number 22 of Business Chunautiyan. 22, that's it. That's where we have reached. Last started about 2 years ago. And today we bring you an interesting story like all our other episodes. Us, Rata is a 70-year-old organization with over 1,000 companies as our members across India, focused only on the MSME in the field of air conditioning, refrigeration, and ventilation. A bunch of super enthusiastic entrepreneurs who have decided to come together, collaborate, and grow together. So today we bring you another interesting story, a story on refrigeration, how a professional got into entrepreneurship and built a business. Today we have Mr. Dharmendra Sunderbabu, who is a mechanical engineer and a technocrat in the field of refrigeration and air conditioning. He is the director at Climate Changers Technology Solutions, a company specializing as consultants, designers, integrator of refrigeration and air conditioning. He's also a director of C5 Cold Chain Private Limited and an integrated cold chain facility for agro-food processing at Mysore in Karnataka. Mr. Dharmendra has designed refrigeration systems for pharma, floriculture, food processing, agri-horticulture, aqua processing, food retail, hypermarkets, distribution centers, hospitality, mega food products, food ingredients, manufacturing facilities, chemical industries, vaccine manufacturing units, and other applications. He has won Cold Chain Excellence Award for a packhouse in Tamil Nadu and also won the best maintained facility for Bangalore Fresh Fruits Private Limited in 2017. So before I get him onto screen, most of you must be hearing about this whole wide refrigeration for the first time. But have you all actually seen how these systems look like, how complex they are? So let's have a little video presentation to show you how a live refrigeration systems, what actually happens on the ground, feels like and looks like. Awesome. Welcome, Mr. Dharmendra. To all our viewers, you would have seen that video how your fruits and vegetables from the farmland comes to your dinner table or your breakfast table is all because of men like Mr. Dharmendra who puts the cold chain together. Hello, Mr. Dharmendra. Fantastic to have you with us here today. Can you hear us, Mr. Dharmendra? Mr. Dharmendra, can you hear us? Just give us some time while we actually fix this for you. Uh, give us a few minutes, please. Mr. Dharmendra, can you hear us? You're muted. You'll have to unmute yourself. You're muted. Sorry, unfortunately, we can't hear you, Mr. Dharmendra. Is it possible for you to unmute yourself?
Is that?
Yeah, finally, we got you there. Absolutely. Thank you so much. So I was just telling, good evening. I was just telling our viewers that, that video actually showcased how the vegetables and fruits, most of them have never seen, coming from the farm to your dinner table and your breakfast tables. And I was just telling them that it is because of people like you who design systems to bring them fresh to our dinner table. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Dharmendra, tell us about climate changes. Tell us about the refrigeration industry in India. What are the future to it, and tell us how you got into it. A little about how you're going about doing this business. Tell our viewers about it.
Yeah. Good evening to everyone. In fact, thanks for the opportunity, Mr. Ajit. No, it takes me a pleasure. In fact, introducing my company, which is called as Climate Changes Technology Solutions Private Limited. The name defines clearly that we are into changing the climate in terms of refrigeration limitations, not the climate change really, which one we are causing trouble. No. However, we are basically integrated. We are integrators. We focus on integrating solutions and system for the customers who are basically using refrigeration as their requirement area. So we are based out of Bangalore. We operate out of Bangalore, pan India. We majorly focus on southern India. Uh, uh, we support any kind of temperature humidifications, cold chain systems, industrial refrigerations, etc., etc. So we take a project in turnkey basis. We provide the complete in-house solutions, and we support the customer to have it with a one point contact, and we take the responsibilities, and we excel into these kind of segments where we delivered so far close to around 102 projects as on date. I'm sorry. So we established this company on 2013. So we are live as on today, and we focus is more increasing, and every year we are able to see a different pattern of projects coming up into our portfolio.
Amazing. But tell me something.
Yeah.
How do you see the refrigeration industry in our country actually evolving?
See, it is actually one of a high demanded area of we are actually I would rather say that we would need more people to come forward. There are very few people who are into this line of business, especially when I talk about integrated solutions. Getting a machinery is easy, or selling a machinery is easy. But if you talk about a solution or a system for a customer who is actually wanting it, there are very few companies in the segment. So having this kind of a volume and this kind of entry options for the requirement, I think we need to rather focus more and train more people, or call in for more people who are into expedite solution. And not really everyone is trying to enter into this, but there are few nowadays. We start seeing more entrepreneurial people are trying to end up into putting into contracting based things.
Amazing. But Mr. Dharmendra,
Yeah.
you have been a professional all your life. Okay, you've been
Yeah.
you've been a professional for a very long time, worked with large companies and everything. How
Correct.
did you end up taking the entrepreneurial leap? Yeah, I mean, when did that happen? Tell us, how did you actually get that happening?
No, I was actually a project and service head in Ingersoll Rand. That was my last assignment, which I had in 2013. Of course, it was a challenging career, and it's an amazing day. The day when I took my call that either should I join to another company or to become an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship is something which I was always focusing on, and I wanted to get into. But this entire career of mine, where I worked in this one of the largest companies and one of the beautiful companies, where the entire knowledge base, the entire the experience what I gone through, that is what made me motivated to become entrepreneur rather. And it is not easy to take that call, because you are holding a very good position and you are almost heading a department, and I was responsible for the revenue, business, team, and etc etc. But that day I took a call. It was I could say rather 60% of the idea is about how do we break this curve around you, which is in a beautiful curve you already created. You are projected, you are handling a lot of things, and you are into a lot of things. But 40% of that rest of the 40% was my passion, which was wanting me to get into. So it was a calculated risk, and I till now, even this second, I have never regretted. It is beautiful, it is amazing. It has, in fact, given me more responsibilities. It has given me a beautiful growth. It has given me more knowledge, and every day I'm learning a lot. Whatever I learned, whatever I have yet to learn, everything is happening out of it. I am happy. Honestly, I'm very happy to be an entrepreneur, and that's how I'm in front of you today.
Seriously, because being you hold a senior position, lots of
Yeah,
responsibilities, get a hefty packet, everything is
correct,
taken care of, and now you're
correct.
saying it was really easy to become an entrepreneur, because right now you're saying that you have no salary confirmation, no recognition, you have no idea whether your company will start off, no fears,
Correct.
which was when you had to take the leap from professional to entrepreneurship.
No, there were fear as usual. You have friend, I have friend, everyone. Most of the people will try to tell you that you are going to be in trouble, and part of the people will tell no, you'll be succeeding it. So you'll have to be choosing what is right to you, and it is the family which is supporting me.
Awesome.
I would rather say that I have to thank my family. The way they let me go, the way I mean, I am a risk taker, obviously, but there are some planning which I need to make. It's not that we are alone. Most of the time we were in a companies and everything was settled there. And moreover, the commitments has to be taken care. So financially, planning has to be done. But it's all. It's basically a calculated risk. So the calculations were set for almost 6 to 8 months of time. And more importantly, the support what I got from my previous company. I mean, the company which I was working did not leave me at all. They also engaged me as a consultant for another 1 more year. So that
Wow.
one support was also, in fact, that is also a very big support, which somewhat you can handle the show. But the day when I got the first order, everything got vanished. And in fact, that order was executed only after the second order, after completion of the second order. But that one paper beating around, all the people around the market and sitting in crowds and getting a single order on your own name, that moment has made me forget everything, and I never look back as on date.
Amazing, absolutely
Yeah,
amazing. But tell me something. As a
yeah,
professional,
yeah,
you are a trained professional technocrat
yeah,
who come into
yeah.
entrepreneurship. How do you get? What are the advantages that you have in running your enterprise compared to a traditional entrepreneur who's already been there in that business or who's second generation into the business? How do you have this big advantage? What are the advantages that you see as a professional moving into entrepreneurship?
See, the biggest advantage for enterprise having a professional turned entrepreneur is the learning he had gone through in his professional career. And it is important that he had achieved. In fact, he was trying to explore whatever knowledge which we have gained out of the previous professional activities. See, those knowledge was done at their premises, at their cost, and you have been proven that you are successful there even. So copying that or implementing that over here is not a difficult task, is what I feel, Mr. Ajit, because if you want to test your experience, your R&Ds, your knowledge, your ideas at your cost, at this point of time, being an entrepreneur, having lesser support on the financial thing, it will be difficult. But a professional come entrepreneur, this is the biggest advantage what I see. And
So the sorry, go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. Yeah, yeah. So, and competing, you should know. See, it is very simple. you should be thorough in all aspects in terms of, first of all, what is that you're going to offer. I'm a subject expert. I have to be very, very clear. Anything comes in, I'm able to handle, I'm capable to handle. That's it. Next, rest all fall into place.
Amazing. So, yeah,
Yeah,
refrigeration business is highly technical. Most of the new
yeah,
entrepreneurs are going to be technocrats like you. And one of the biggest things that stop them from coming into entrepreneurship is the fear of failure. How did that work for you? I mean, did you have a plan B, a backup plan, or it was just like, okay, I'm going to jump and see what happens? Is that how did that all that work out?
yeah. Not really, sir, because even I followed people, my ex-bosses, my known contacts, etc. Among my 100 contacts, probably around 7 to 8 contacts are a fantastic entrepreneurs as on date. So I take their examples as benchmark. Of course, failures are there. The failure is for what note. As I told you, as simple as this. If you are confident about your subject knowledge, there is nothing that we should fear of. It is not that we always have a failure. It is there. Failure is always there. There is nothing that we cannot be successful all the time. But how agile you are, how confident you are to convert that failure to the next success story. That is more important. And in our case, also we had the same similar issues. The backup plan was always there. If you know the job, if you know the work, being a director of a company or being a project head of a multinational company, it doesn't stop me to be a hands-on gentleman. As on today, I'm hands-on. I'm happy and allowed to work. It is the more you sit on the laptop, the more you will keep traveling, the more you work. The body fitness, the mind fitness. It's a kind of a passion what I had. So when I start getting into the job, I go into the side project side. I tight sometimes the nuts, bolts, and take and because that's gave me more knowledge. I can understand the entire body language of the people who's working over there. You can understand their pain. You can try to implement whatever best you can implement for their easiness, etc., etc. So when a person is confident about hands-on activity, it is always easy for me to go back to my the previous field, which is even today open. And
Nice.
in that confidence, no backup plan was there. It was never been opted for, and it is. I don't think it is required to. Sajid.
Amazing. I must tell you, your
Yeah.
enthusiasm is getting viral on the social media. Okay, you have everyone who's
Thank
watching
you.
you can feel the excitement and the passion that you are coming with your work on. But tell me
Pleasure.
something. When you
Yeah.
start a business, okay, some of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
basic principles. How did you plan for? How do I get the money? How do I get the people? How do I get my first few customers? These are the three important things when you start the business. I need the money.
Correct.
I need some people to
Correct.
get the work done, and my first few
Correct.
customers, like how you still remember your first customer. Exactly.
Yeah.
How did those basic things work out? How did you pan that out?
Sure. So now, this business being, I mean, when we said a word called integrators, there were very, very few people who had heard about that word. All these days, people used to call a contractor or something like a trader or whatever. But we were clear in talking about what we are. I was against contracting because we are not doing contracting. We are doing integrating because contracting is something that somebody has engineered and you're trying to implement it. But in integration, you engineer it and you outsource it and then you integrate it. I mean, you set it up at site. So when we had used a word called integration, it is customized. It is a customized solution where it is made for the requirement given by the customer. So being a contracting or nature, I mean, the nature of a job itself is contracting. You'll have to be very specific and clear about the terms of payment what you try to declare. So when we say that you can't compete or you can't go and fall into a regular contract where everything is listed out, where you have no value addition to talk about. So that is the area which we are not chosen, Mr. Ajit. So we were very, very clear. We were very, very specific to be on a place where we have a value and where they wanted to have our value. It was not easy. One or two orders was so difficult. When we started building the legacies, then things have become easy into place. So being a integrating company, having contracting as a background or a nature of business, discipline on cash management, man management, the way you plan has to be absolutely precise because we are end of the day into an agriculture based product, also into a different sector where people are not always corporates. There are individuals, there are startups, there can be a new person who's trying to set up and venture it on, etc., etc. So we should carry that knowledge and in a kind of sensitivity where you should be able to judge well whether this project will go on to a particular time or this will happen in this particular time or not. Are you smelling something wrong, etc.? Those are very, very crucial for you to control your cash flow. If you do not do that, you will end up in a very, very big mess. We have not did so far, but we have learned on a very, very last minutes as well. But that we always keep guiding to people, and it's a forum for me to share it to entrepreneurs who are trying to come up.
Amazing. But
Yeah,
when you enter the market, there were already large refrigeration contracting or integration companies, you can say, or majority of them contracting companies, and they were very well
yeah.
established. They have a lot of people, so they tend to reach out to the big customers, and the customers want to pick with very well established companies. But you have started, and you have also retained some really big customers. What's been your strategy as to how you've been able to retain some of these large customers?
Uh, uh, See, it was clear that I mean, my experience with the previous companies have to be used certainly, because the contacts and the references has to be built across the segment. It is not that I'm being Dharmender as an individual. I will not be able to do anything alone. So the contacts and references were certainly been tapped and contacted from the previous experience what I had. However, there were these people who are already there in the picture. To convince a customer on your excellence and capabilities of requirement, it was not easy. You are right, it was very difficult for me, and I had to pitch in for almost 6 to 8 months of time on the field to ensure that I have to meet every customer. And it was a passion to me to meet them as well, and I was more interesting to convincing them on the requirement what we have been talking about. So that's exactly what I was trying to say, that the field chosen by me, or rather that the way I approach the customer is on integrated solutions. So I was not carrying any brand value behind me. Like, I was not a trader. I was not promoting a company that I'll be giving you this machine, that machine, etc., etc. So it was not at all on the agenda of mine. I was talking about the core value requirement of the customer. Out of 97% of strike rate, we could hit around 33% in the first year itself. So that was the success rate what we saw, and we saw success from there on. And that's the strategy where I entered. And this was the area really having a gap, because all major companies were focusing only on selling the equipments or machineries, whereas selling the solutions was not at all a there were very, very few. Right? That area has given us a chance to take it on, Mr. Ajit.
Amazing. But when even
Yeah,
after you entered, you kind of created a niche for yourself in the refrigeration industry, like how you clearly
true.
strategized as an integrator. Tell me,
Yeah.
though I know that Ingersoll Rand supported even after you moved out, but you have partnered with literally all the brands and everyone. How did you manage to get, for a company of your size, when you started, you were small compared to the better established contractors and everything. How do you get all these big companies to actually supply equipment, material, knowledge, information? How did all that happen?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. See, there are companies in our industry who are MNCs. There are component manufacturers, there are composites manufacturers, etc., etc., who have been trying to explore this market in a large way, because when they compare and when they talk, I mean, try to reach about their other markets, our size was very, very small, and they were trying to get into the this segment to the core requirement of the market availability. In such note, if even with my previous experience and previous companies, they used to interact with me a lot, and we try to give a chance for them to enter into a different segments. Like, for example, if somebody tries to get me a new wall which is electronically sound, and they want to try it out, because we were subject experts, because we know the in and out of the system configurations, it was easy for us to troubleshoot, if any, without putting customer into risk. So these were the bonding which I've been creating with myself to the other companies. So they've been knowing me from the long time, and moreover, those kind of companies wanted to always to have a companies like me in touch with them, because they wanted to explore things. Cost investment can be 1,000 clicks for them. That's exactly what we tried doing in one of a project which we'll discuss off late now, where we tried giving absolutely a new technology which has never been told to this market. So these companies are more capable. These companies are fantastic. It is how you treat them and how you maintain your healthier relationship in terms of finance, in terms of commitments, in terms of India, what you sign in. All these are being taken care, and all these companies are absolutely putting a red carpet and green carpet to me so far for our company, and they never regretted that why did we give these kind of components and machineries to this. To the last point of this question, you know, they felt very proud that their equipments were popularized and with zero defects for at least 3 to 4 years of installation time with climate changes is what the note I always receive from these kind of large manufacturers.
Taking a cue from what you just said right now,
Yeah,
typically the refrigeration business, like the solutions
yeah,
that you provide, the
yeah,
customer doesn't understand much of the solution, right? I mean, you have to explain to
correct,
him, you have to do it,
correct,
and it's very much customized to his requirements and everything. Now, here is a
true.
big challenge. How do you actually sell new technology to them? Because they are more happy to play safe, there's a lot of money involved in it, long-term implications, energy consumption that becomes a backbone of their business. So how do you actually propose new technology to them, to these customers, and say that, hey, this is the first time we're going to do this, or this is something? Can you share something that you actually did on terms of new technology to your customers?
Yeah. Let me take an example of, there was fruit ripening is one of a premium segment in our Indian market, and we are the second largest grower of bananas rather. That was a requirement. It is popping up everywhere. Doing air conditioning for ripening chambers was also a style of many people in India, but apparently in summer they used to fail it. So when we entered into that kind of segment, which we found out a market for it, so we focused more on not only on the refrigeration side. There are associated and allied activities for the given process which is calling for ripening, be it be CO2 extraction, be it be ethylene injection or humidification, or the way you pre-cool the fruit to get the ripening effect taken place. So we had by then we met this customer in Tamil Nadu. Before that, probably would have completed around 20-25 projects of on our own style of execution. Whereas this customer really given us a chance that he was actually a forward thinker, to be honest. Uh, he has in fact provoked us to why don't we try for any different technologies where I can save power. So that's exactly triggered us for more. It is a high positive range of application in the. I'm talking about the operating limit of compressors. So there is only one thing which we tried changing. That's being a new technology rather. We have used a digital scroll compasses with help of Emerson. In fact, Emerson was able to give us the chance to take this forward, and the the application was absolutely perfect. Even Emerson has verified it. And when we entered into this segment with this kind of in a line of compasses, which no one did it so far, because the digital scroll compasses it was the only persistence in air conditioning market, that is VRF or whatever. But no one has tried it in refrigeration. We have tried it. It was successful. End of the day, it is always easy for you to convince the customer when you talk about you have in-depth knowledge. So when I explain him that this is what is going to be taken care, and the back-end support, when we say back-end support, even there are instances that we will put in a contract that we can give them a performance bank guarantee up to 30% of the contract value. So that exactly sounds them confident, because see, you are confident when you know right, you can make them right. If it is not going to work, I'm confident I can do what I can do, because that is not only the component which is going to work for. So there are a lot of other activities which has to be right and clear, and we know the limitations of the machine what we are buying in. We know clearly what exactly we are using it. The manufacturer is guaranteeing for it, because uh, that's the beauty of integration. What I need is what I know. So I told them what I need. So they make it for me what I need. So it's the game is done. There is nothing to fear, and there is nothing wrong in promoting it. And this is how he was happy. Even today, the plant is running fantastic, and he is able to see his returns the way we have given him, Mr.
Amazing. But
Yeah,
system integration, contracting business is very capital intensive. So when you
yeah,
start trying to scale up, which any business would eventually do, what's your
yeah.
strategy in terms of how do you raise working capital? How do you maintain the financial health? What are the basic disciplines that you follow?
Yeah, the one discipline is that you limit to your salaries. You don't have an luxury life as you get the payments and rollings or etc etc. Keep your contractors in time. The payments of the contractors should be perfect. The payment to the suppliers should be perfect, because when you keep funding them right at the committed dates and whatever you're getting, you will get a lot of benefits. You may get extended credit days. You may get support when you are out of town, out of station. The system is not supporting etc etc. But beyond all this, it's a customized solution. It's made for you. So we were very, very clear. That is our strategy. We will not invest for customers' project. We ensure the payment terms are clear, that you invest for your project. We are there for your technology. Anything goes wrong, you can backup. We can give a backup of bank guarantees. You can do anything you want. So the terms of payment was clear. The financial management of this kind of a contracting business, you have to be very, very clear in what you are trying to, add value. So that you have to make understand the customer that, gentlemen, we are trying to give you this solution for you, and it has been made for you. It has been given to you. So it is not something which is available readily in the market. So obviously, it has to be made against the orders. The payments has to be planned for that, because your volume is 1 and my volume is 10, etc., etc. These are the strategies we always implement. And
Wow,
obviously,
amazing.
other working capitals are always required, because everything is not as we plan. The pandemic has made us learn a lot of lesson. So there are banks. If your books of accounts is clean and neat, and this kind of a scaling up, on your books is in a rising scale. Obviously, better banks are supporting us, and we are having a fantastic working capital supports from our banks so far, and we are doing good as on today.
Amazing. In this
Yeah,
refrigeration business, Mr. Dharmender, the
yeah,
temperature range is so varied, such a
yeah.
huge temperature variation in terms
Correct.
of application and everything. What are the kind of challenges you faced when you actually chose to get into this industry? Of course, you're a professional into that industry, but now as an entrepreneur, what are the kind of challenges that you face?
So challenges are, obvious. There are areas where who will go into that is a question. Who will, ring the thing bus, because when you talk about anything lesser than 18-degree temperatures and higher than 12-degree temperatures, this area is blank. But let me be very frank with you. That is the biggest area requirement in India, because we are into a lot of food manufacturing and food processing. So anything higher than 18, lower than 18, air conditioning people will say it is not into our kitty. And anything higher than 12-degree refrigeration, people will say we cannot get into that. But there is a beautiful play to do there, because between the 12 to 18, with the support of relativity control, it's a very, very big area which we need to address for. So these all can happen only when you enter into the market. That's what, when you start getting into enquiry, when you understand the need of the customer, you get in. We can give you lot many solutions. You know, these kind of problems are there where this gap has to be filled in. To find out this, you will take a lot of time, because sometimes you will not get even an entry to understand or talk, because the language what you talk, the language what customer talks will never gel. And you have to be very so fast and crisp to just grab it and try to pitch in the right solution what you're trying to offer. For example, there are a requirement of around 14.3 degrees centigrade to be precisely maintained, and they want 44% of RH. So we call this as in the refrigeration only, because everything is called refrigeration. Even for air conditioning, refrigeration has to be there. So we terminalized it as industrial air conditioning, and in fact, our turnover out of 30% was truly belong to that.
Amazing.
And
I told you at the beginning itself, your
yeah,
your talk is actually inspiring and very contagious. See what has happened
pleasures.
just now. Because of
Yeah,
your talk,
yeah.
you got an inquiry which has just come live. There is an there is an inquiry which has come from Mr. Suresh Mahajan. He say I need 60 metric ton pre-cooling,
Yeah,
60 metric
I'm
ton
able
for
to see that.
cold storage for banana in Jalgaon district, Maharashtra. So one of our viewers is already throwing inquiries at you. Suresh ji,
I
right, send us
thank
an email. We are
Suresh. I'll
available
talk to
on
him
this.
separately.
Yeah, yeah. So what you can
Yeah,
do is you can call any of these numbers, Sureshji, and leave an inquiry what you want. We will connect you to Mr. Dharmender post the session. The Rata office will connect you. So thank you so much for sharing that. So you got a lead already. Okay, so that's it.
thank you,
That's
sir. Thank you,
amazing.
thank you, Rata, for that.
So
Yeah, yeah,
so, Mr. Dharmendra, one more thing. Beyond this, you
yeah,
set up cold storage,
yeah.
right? Tell us
Exactly,
how
exactly.
did that happen, and what is the future of cold storage business in our country?
So this is interesting. When we started our this company, climate changes. You may say whatever you may say. You might have an experience, you might have a knowledge, etc. Until you get a platform, there is no way you can excel it or you can show it to people. During this course of time, we were getting into a difficulty that how can you show the installations? Because when you talk something, there are people in our country that they see, they believe in seeing. So they see, they believe. Otherwise, whatever you present, whatever you talk, it is not that easy for them to get convinced. So I'll have to all the way drive down, travel down, take the customers across my segments, across to my customer places to show them what content they wanted to have. It was not easy, sir. It is 3,000 kilometers a week time we have to travel, carrying them cost involved in it, time involved in it. He may not be available, or that time when you enter, they will not be allowed you to show, or there'll be a cross business strategy. Too many things were there. That's when we popped up an idea that why don't we have a demonstrative cold chain. And it was also a dream for me that I should have a in-house option for a customer to come and stand and see and go. There is one visit, one clear look, see everything and move out. It was in planning. It was not easy. It was calling for a larger investment. Of course, there was support from other of my business associates and etc. etc. However, I am very proud today to say that none of the refrigeration professionals or an integrator or a contractor or a company, so-called chain companies in India, owns a cold chain where you can show that as a business and you can show that as a demonstrative project. So the project what we did is called C5 Cold Chain India Private Limited. It is one of its different kind of company. We are into temperature controlled warehousing, and we are also into food processing where the temperature range is -40 to +25. Of course, when we started getting into that, that's a new line of business. That business and this business is together a beautiful business because you have everything for you to offer to the customer. Now, I say proudly that customer can come to us, see, look at the live operating business, what you want to set up, look at the live operating machine, how it is going to consume, how it is going to behave, how the people will abuse, etc., etc., etc. See that, then talk to us for an order. That's how it has been taken, Mr. Ajit.
Amazing. Tell me something. Now you
Yeah,
also see the IT and IoT playing a huge role in the refrigeration industry. Where do you see
correct.
the role of IT and IoT, and how soon do you think these adoptions will take place?
Uh, See, in my view, IT and IoT is absolutely essential, like for all the industries, but for us, it is more required. I would insist not about putting into IoTs and ITs for our system first, but before that, try to put the service tools on place. The biggest drawback in our industry would be troubleshooting on the places where we are because we are spread across everywhere. You can't expect a cold store in a metro city or in a high tech area. It can be in a village. It can be in an area where you cannot even get a signal. It can be in a farm. It can be in a hill, wherever it is. End of the day, a service person has to go. That's exactly you need to gain the confidence of the customer, and that's where we seek support of IoTs and ITs because when a service personnel is capable enough to handle this kind of troubleshoot sitting remotely in a place where IT and IoTs can support, that's amazing, and that has to happen. And it's not late; it's already happening. There are people working on it, and we introduced a couple of things, and we have taken support from lot many companies. That's going to drive, Mr. Ajit, and customers are more eagerly waiting for it. And there is a huge opportunity for the entire retrofit of ITs and IoTs, or addition to the ITs and IoTs for existing projects.
Amazing. So,
Yeah,
do you see this? Do you see this adoption happening at a very fast pace in the years to come?
it it is picking up. Pandemic has passed it for a while, but
Yeah.
nevertheless, it is going to pick up very very fast. But we should be equipped enough for the stocks, for the people. We should train people. So, that's more exactly we are lacking. We should get into that now.
Amazing. Okay, before we actually kind of close it, I have two more important things that I want to hear from you. One
Yes, sir.
is very few professionals getting into entrepreneurship, and you're one of those success stories. Uh,
Yeah.
there are a lot of new aspiring entrepreneurs, people wanting to take that leap, but something's holding them back. What's your message for them? And if they choose to start in the refrigeration industry, how should they prepare?
Um, First of all, I mean, I am an entrepreneur and I am an independent entrepreneur. I would use to like to state this word. I'm an independent entrepreneur. My father was an entrepreneur, but I was not pulled by my father. It is on my own wish I chosen this line. It is my own wish. I had a passion to learn this, and when I felt that yes, I have learned something, now I have to do something more. That's exactly when my entrepreneurship thing came to mind because risk taking is always a passion which I always do it. However, for the upcomers, please welcome. There is a huge opportunity for this industry, and this industry is not like the other industries. Maybe I don't want to compare, but rather I would expect them to be prepared in terms of technicalities. Do not depend on the manufacturing companies or a person who is going to control you. Be yourself, be clear. You should add value to your line of business. If you have a line of business value, your success can never be stopped. So until otherwise you are dependent, you're always dependent. If you do not dependent, even if you know only to do a copper brazing or you know only to sell a copper piping, please come and do that alone and keep on adding value addition to that, because there are a lot many options even for copper tubing. So if you talk like that, every component, every part of refrigeration system or an entire system, what we're talking about, there is a huge opportunity, sir. I'm telling you, we are absolutely lacking close to 60 to 70% of people in the market.
Oh, you think that's a huge gap, right? That we already have
Serious
in the
gap, sir. Serious,
refrigeration.
serious gap. Yeah.
Yeah. And
People
it's
have
an
to come
evolving
forward.
industry.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So I guess the people are missing that whole point. That the whole opportunity that the HVAC industry is actually
Exactly.
giving, throwing out there, and there's so much of gap out there. There's so much of gap out there, and it requires a lot of technocrats and people with domain expertise to get into it and fix those problems. And I'm glad that
True,
you're one of them who've actually done it brilliantly. Tell me something.
true.
uh,
Yeah,
you're scaling up. What are the challenges you're facing now personally? Because I know you have done quite a bit, but in terms of people, in terms of delegation, in terms, there's so many things that, one is the excitement of when you're at the early stage, the rush of adrenaline from moving from professional to entrepreneurship.
correct,
You got your
correct.
first order, second order, everything. Now it's all about scaling up and getting organized and delegation and everything. Now the problem with entrepreneurs like us, who have been hands-on, is that we just want to do everything ourselves, and that becomes a problem when you're scaling up. So how do you actually handle that challenge, especially when it comes to delegation and everything?
Correct. Uh, as I told you, when I wanted to become an entrepreneur on a full time, independent full time entrepreneur, I was actually had a lot of plan. I'm actually proceeding as per my plan. We are on a learning stage as on date, although we have crossed exact all years of living with this company, but 10 years is our year mark, because we need to now implement a lot of systems. This is also is one of my agenda, because that's exactly what I learned from previous companies. This top American MNCs and etc. as beautiful systems to implement. That is what we are now going to enter into. Systems are going to drive. System has to drive. Otherwise, you will not able to scale up. Scaling up is very easy, sir. With your any reference, you can go anywhere. But end of the day, you have to follow, carry the same ethics, same values everywhere. Because this business, especially the business what I'm talking about, is happening only because of retainment of customer. Retainment of customer can only happen with a satisfaction of customer. Satisfaction of customer can only happen when you give more focus, more attention. So not alone me, now down me there are 20 people, not beyond them. Even whoever is going to come in, wherever they're going to come in, referring the brand name or referring the value of this business, they have to follow the same ethics. So for which system has to be in place. Scaling up is in our agenda. We are now focusing on scaling up. The best way forward we're looking forward was to tie up with lot many associates who are available in the market, train them for our ethics, train them for our thing, share the business, share the profits, try to get the value. They let them eat, we also eat, so we can grow, all can grow together. That's
Amazing.
the agenda we're looking at, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what collaboration is all about. So that's what the
Exactly.
association is also all about, in bringing entrepreneurs, like-minded entrepreneurs from across the country together. So the last
Correct.
question before we wind up,
Yes, sir.
what do you think an association like ours can do for budding entrepreneurs like you in the business of air conditioning and refrigeration? What would your expectations be now that you moved into entrepreneurship? What are the kind of support that you would want to expect from an association like Rata?
So first of all, I appreciate this kind of association, and it is for such kind of event, whether people watch it or not watch it, or whoever wants to watch it, there is a requirement for this event. This initiative itself is a fantastic, initiative. Whereas for our industry, for our line of business, we wanted to have this. Beyond this, there are a lot of things has to be done by Rata. But I would rather say, marketing support, or taking their people's recognitions, or the company's recognitions to the departments, to the portfolios, to the segments, or to the centralized panels, etc., etc. That is one area which rather Rata can do a fantastic job, I believe. So that would be my request in front of Rata, to think about that. I can add some values to that. Too many people who are fantastic, amazing, ultimate, they also have to be brought into picture. This can be a better, contacts. The terms can be discussed. Their excellence can be shared. Their business things can be, utilized, etc., etc. Some kind of a forum you rather need to bring in, maybe in a virtual way, to just have, kind of a cluster interacting, sharing of leads, knowledge, or ideas, or troubleshoots, like other countries. Countries like Australia has this kind of a forum. uh, Probably that's something which I expect or request Rata to look forward.
Dharmendra, one of the things that we have is, apart from this 1,000+ companies who are our members, we have
Yeah,
also built communities within this 1,000. There's a community of only contracting companies in air conditioning. There's a
yeah,
community of only refrigeration, of only manufacturing companies within within the entire trade. So one of the things that's already on our plan is to bring the refrigeration companies within our trade together. So as a separate focus kind of a thing. So I'm going to reach out to you to see how we can put this together and bring all like-minded refrigeration people who are in your industry together, so that you have a complete focus within that trade and you're actually working towards that. So that's
pleasure,
one of
sir.
the things that we should actually work around. And trust me, if there's anything that this association has worked as, we have managed to bring some very like-minded and super enthusiastic and super energetic entrepreneurs together, who are helping each other, like how we said. It's the trick is all
Correct.
about collaborating and growing together, because our country holds this huge opportunity and we should
True.
exploit it. We should take advantage of it. And especially in a field like refrigeration, many few people will not understand that there is a farmer strike. It becomes very emotional. There are subsidies given, but it's
Correct.
professionals like Mr. Dharmender, when he scales up, you will not have to give subsidy. The wastage of the farm produce will come down dramatically. You will actually increase the entire earnings for these farmers, and you will
True.
also create a fabulous cold chain along the way, entire value chain, that makes sure the food remains fresh when it comes to your table. Mr. Dharmender,
Absolute right.
it is for a
Yes, sir.
fantastic session. You're probably the first speaker where you have a big takeaway. You have Mr. Suresh
Oh.
Mahajan there, who has already reached out to you saying that, hey, I need some help for banana ripening. So,
With all pleasure, sir. Yeah.
yeah, Mr. Mahajan, please write to info@rataindia.com. We'll connect you to Mr. Dharmender, and he will reach out to you. Thank you so much. It's been a fabulous session, and you stuck to your time as a true professional. Within 60 minutes, we are actually concluding this event. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Super energetic, super fun, and a lot of knowledge sharing. Thank you very much for taking your time out and being with us today. And to all our
Yeah.
viewers, we'll see you again next month with another session of Business Chunautiyan. We'll bring you stories and inspiring knowledge sessions from the industry to help you grow and scale up. Thank you, Mr. Dharmender. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks a
sir.
lot.
Thanks a lot. Pleasure, sir. Thank you.